Hi, I'm Sergey Beloy. Today, 11/11/2011, I'm announcing beginning of the Occupy Infospace initiative, which is going to become a global one. Inspired by the Occupy Wall Street movement, and as such, this is the first campaign against greed of certain American companies, which is launched from outside American land and by a person who is not American. First of all, this is my reaction to the greed of the American company Infospace Incorporated and its founder, billionaire Naveen Jain. For me, the Infospace Incorporated is a space of greed. And I spoke a lot about it in my previous videos and even at my specially devoted websites, so one would call it Occupy Infospace Incorporated or Occupy Projects by Naveen Jain. But it's much more than that. The real aim of the Occupy Infospace is much broader. The ultimate target is a completely new space for the internet search. Currently dominated Google's model needs to be transformed into qualitatively new information space. This is a big task, which needs really big money, and it's practically impossible to implement without money at all. However, that's exactly the point where I am now, thanks mostly to the Infospace. So stage 1 of my Occupy Infospace is in the sense of Occupy the company named Infospace Incorporated, and it starts immediately. Stage 2 Occupy Infospace in a more general sense, like Occupy Web's information space, and it starts on December 1st. Those of you who watched my previous videos know that the price that Infospace needs to pay to settle its info war against my 2d-infospace.com is $160 million. But for a limited period only, from today's to November 30, Infospace may settle it for just $25 million. Consider it as my exclusive offer to Infospace. Also, I'm afraid it's not smart enough to accept my today's generosity. Despite it's a much better deal than, say, a situation around Greece, deaths of which were recently reduced in half, 25 millions are nearly 7 times less than the current sum of 160 million. I think that Infospace is still not ready to pay 1/10 part of its current cash pool simply because it has a moral obligation to do so for correcting mistakes of its chief executive officers, which they have made during the last 9 years. But I just must to give Infospace a last chance before starting destroying that company as a business after November 30. Why November 30? At that day, my bank, and that's a branch of the Swedbank, a very reputable Swedish bank with almost 200 years of its history, shuts down. It actually leaves Ukraine, I guess, because it appeared not profitable for the Swedbank to operate under conditions of Ukrainian realities. I just got from them an official paper. In particular, the Swedbank closes down most of its Ukrainian branches for retail operations, also leaving just few of them for, guess what, corporate clients only. Anyway, on November 30, my account in the Swedbank, as shown at my Facebook pages, and which I opened to allow Infospace to make money transfers to me as easy as possible, stops its existence. And if Infospace fails to transfer $25 million by that day, the next day a second stage of my plan will go into action. I am almost certain Infospace is not going to pay me any money, so be ready on December 1st to join the actual starting the Occupy Infospace initiative. What exactly could be done? First, boycott visiting Infospace's websites, and in particular its search engines, as if they do not exist. This simple move alone is capable to bring down any web business that makes money through Google's advertising, and Infospace is one of them. If there is no visitors, there will be no income, just severe losses only. Considering that currently Infospace Incorporated earns about $1 million per day, the losses from December 1 to the Christmas day of December 25 may sum up to the same 25 millions I am proposing to pay me right now. Much more serious threat for Infospace, however, will be a fair competition with my search engine, which I am planning to launch at about the same time. 9 years ago, Infospace Incorporated officially accused me in unfair competition. It was a lie. So it's time to show the Infospace what a really fair competition means. I think the Infospace will not be ready for that. So Infospace is going to lose the millions anyway, but in the rough way. And that's only the beginning of the avalanche of related problems that may ultimately put Infospace to the edge of existence. I'd like to apologize to the Infospace's shareholders, investors, employees and clients in advance if the Infospace makes no move for fair settlement of my case. It's going to go bankrupt, as simple as that, and lose all its money. Call Infospace's chief executive officers right now and ask them why during 9 years they have refused to accept that I exist. And don't be surprised if it appears that you do not exist for them too. In my previous video, New 9/11 will attack dollar, I warned America that the pyramid MMM 2011 is going to crash the world's financial system. I created that movie a week before the OccupyWallStreet started. I'm afraid that America still doesn't realize it. If you add to the Occupy Wall Street movement the MMM 2011 pyramid, it will be an absolutely undestroyable superpower. But guess what? The popularity of that movie has been very low. It's about 500 visitors for several weeks, while a simple video shot by MMM participants which shows how they just give away American dollars to everybody on the street as a promo action watched 5,000 people for several days. My point is, for all my life I was dreaming about achieving financial prosperity fair. Namely, I was desperately trying to become rich through creating some products or services which could be useful for other people. I am not a participant of MMM 2011 because I still believe in earning money fairly. But now, and especially after dealing with Infospace Incorporated, I am starting to doubt whether it's possible. I never saw it in my own life. What I saw, what I see today, is how easy the money could and actually has always been created mostly from nothing, but only for chosen ones. And if this is true, the only way to win the competition with companies like Infospace or Naveen Jain is through joining a bigger pyramid, right? Last week, Sergei Mavrodi made a comment about the famous movie The Light Bulb Conspiracy that reveals how capitalism artificially cuts life cycle for products to make its production loop endless. And Sergei said, This is about people's accusations that Pyramid MMM 2011 doesn't produce anything. Would it be better, he said, if MMM 2011 produced something? Another shit that must be sold intrusively to somebody, to a great number of people, in order to make some profit. MMM 2011 produces a profit from 20 to 70% per month, as simple as that. Yes, this is a pure speculation, moreover, the highest level of speculation, because the stage of production is not included into the cycle at all. The profit is simply set by Mavrodi personally. So what? Face it, all classical indicators for the economical health, like indexes on stock exchanges, levels of businesses' activity, do not work anymore. They don't reflect anything. The so-called business activity nowadays is simply an activity of stock jobbers. Their speculative expectations, no more than that. Why try to create some product, why try to compete fair if Infospace and Naveen Jain own me a significant amount already? Mostly because of refusing existence of their debt to me, including my own existence as well. Under these circumstances, a really fair competition with Infospace should be started from demanding similar life conditions first. In particular, today, at my current age of 46, I simply want to buy a first ever car in my life, a first ever own home in my life, a first ever vacation trip to the ocean. Is it too much? Together with the opportunity to make decent gifts for the people I love. That's why I'm not talking about traditional investment. Instead, I directly demand from Infospace and Naveen Jain, just pay me cash right now. Give my life back. Today I am starting the Occupy Infospace with 0. Join the movement. Your donations are welcome as well. Towards my future search engine, please use my PayPal account below at 2d-infospace.com. As far as I know, PayPal doesn't allow withdrawing for citizens of Ukraine, so my PayPal account is for things like purchasing a new domain name, new hosting plan, new personal server, secure HTTPS, support, and maybe some advertising, if it's possible. If you want to send money for me personally, please see details for my new bank account at my Facebook pages, http facebook.com/sergey.beloy. Or till November 30 you can make a bank transfer to my Swedbank account in Kiev, Ukraine.